Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final day of our conference, our Voice of the Teachers 2022 conference. So today, our first speaker will be Mr. Chijioke Ononiwu. Chijioke, are you ready to take the floor?
Yeah, thank you, Vivian. Thank you very much for having me. This is Chijioke Ononiwu, Engineer Chijioke Ononiwu. So today I will be taking the topic, how to digitally prepare your child for the future. As we all know, based on what is going on around the world, we need to get our children prepared for the digital future. And for us to do that, we have to consider the internet aspects and as well as the digital aspects. The digital aspects, I mean, preparing them for the digital future is not all about the internet. So today we are going to prepare our minds and also discuss on how we can go about that. So let's dive right in. So part one, we'll be treating topics on digital use, digital identity, digital security, emotional intelligence, digital communication, and digital literacy, as well as digital rights. We'll be trying to introduce our kids to how they can get around the internet, what they should be prepared for, how their mind should be prepared for the internet use, because most parents get their children exposed to the internet without giving them the necessary knowledge or training on how to go about whatever that happens on the internet. So today we are going to look into what we really need to educate our child before you hand over that Android phone to your child, before you expose your child to that internet connection in your house for him or her to be able to browse. What are the necessary things you need to consider? What are the necessary things you need to do so that you make sure that your child is safe? So as we have here, we have a cycle or a pie chart. Let me use that word. I think it will be better to use a pie chart. A pie chart that shows how the digital cycle runs. So in it, we have what I've mentioned earlier on. We have the digital safety, we have the digital security, we have the digital emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is not only physical. When we go to the digital world, we also display emotional intelligence. And it's very, very important that your child learns emotional intelligence and how to apply it in the digital world. We also have digital communication. How is your child going to communicate to people he or she meets online? He or she should also know that those are human beings. They are not just robots that are typing. So digital literacy, content creation, critical thinking, how do you reason when you are in the digital space? We also have digital rights. And in digital rights, we talk about the rights of the other person you are discussing or you are having conversation or you get in touch with his or her property. I call it property because the person has taken time to develop or to create it. How do you interact? What rights does the person have so that you don't interfere with his rights? We're also going to talk about digital identity. So in that, we tell your child on how to protect he or herself from things that have to do with the internet for safety reasons. So we dive right into discussing first the digital safety. As engineers will always say, safety first. So in anything you are doing, you have to be safety conscious. So the first thing is safety. So that is why I've chosen the digital safety first. So when we talk about digital safety, what are we talking about? We are talking about how your child should be safe, because you can't hand over something that will be detrimental to the health and emotional well-being of your child. So for that reason, you have to know what it takes for your child to be safe and educate your child on what to do on the internet space before you hand over that Android phone, before you hand over that internet connected laptop to him or her. So behavioral risk. What are the behaviors that your child will exhibit on the internet that will not be safe, that will make him or the next person he or she is communicating with to be in danger? So those are the things you have to know. You have to educate your child and let your child know that as you're about to have access to this, you'll be talking with people. You have to be polite. You also have to be conscious. There are informations you don't give out online because you meet somebody and that person seems nice. You start communicating, the person start asking you certain questions. There have been situations where children even upload the credit card or debit card of their parents to strangers online because of the way they talk to them, because they don't know the risk involved in it. So you have to educate your child. The content, the kind of content he or she posts. In some countries, there are some laws and regulations when it has to do with the content you post online. So your child should also be aware laws that bind the country when it has to do with the digital space. Then contact risk. You have to train your child and let your child know that as you're going into the digital world, especially the internet space, you're going to meet both the bad, the good, and the ugly. So you should know how to manage them. You should know the kind of information you divulge to them. So these are the things you need to teach your child first before you allow him or her to have access to the internet. That is very, very key, and that is very, very vital before you even give him or her access to any internet facility. So we now go on to, after teaching your child the safety implication of using the internet and using your digital tools, your Android and whatever that has to do with internet connection, you now train the child how to use the gadgets so that there won't be abuse, because most children are paramount to abuse. I can remember those days we were young, some kids, they even leave school to go and play video games. So the world of the internet and the information that is embedded in it can take children and make them, they lose their focus. If I will use that word, they will lose their focus. So you have to educate them and monitor them on the screen time. How long do they spend on the internet space? Are they balancing their time, or your child will wake up in the morning, he will use his internet from morning to night. He won't do other things in the house. He won't get involved, socialize with people. The digital health. What can affect your child? There are some people that are affected emotionally when people make certain comments to them. So you also have to train your child, educate your child, bring your child up to that knowledge to know how to manage people when they throw tantrums and, when they talk to him or her in a way that is not palatable. The person will be able to know where to address such issues and how it will be dealt with. Then community participation. When your child gets to use internet, he or she might join some groups. How do you participate on the internet? How do you relate to people on the internet space? Because they are human beings, and the way you go for your societal meetings and maybe estate meetings, that's the same way you are communicating with these people, because you are doing it on the internet doesn't mean that any word you throw at them and the comments you make doesn't hurt them. So your child should know how to communicate, and know how to manage communities that he or she will meet on the digital space. Then digital identity, the digital citizen persona. How does your child express himself? How does he portray himself on the internet? You hear stories of children wearing dresses that are not, they are not moral, or will I tell me that are not really things that children at their age should be seen wearing and exposing themselves on the internet. So your child should know that he or she is also an ambassador of the family he or she is coming from. So how does he or she present himself or herself on the internet? Because people are seeing, people are watching, and there's a saying that the internet never forgets. So he or she is a citizen in the internet space, and he should be careful of how he expresses himself or herself on the internet. Digital co-creators, when you see people that create things and you go in to work with them, how do you manage such things when you collaborate with people? Your child should also be aware, because I've seen people of 16 years, 15 years writing articles that are doing well on the internet space. So your child should also learn how to manage such things. Then digital entrepreneur, when your child becomes an entrepreneur on the internet, I've seen a lady of 16, 17 on LinkedIn. She's doing well. She writes articles. She writes copyrights for companies. So how will your child manage that digital entrepreneurship when she or he gets into it? You have to equip your child with this. You don't let your child be caught unawares by things that he or she will jam on the internet. Then digital security, which we have talked about, but on this time around, okay, we talked about safety. This time we're talking about security. So when your child starts logging into different sites, how will the person protect himself or herself on the internet? Password protection the child will use. You have to also let him or her know how to use strong passwords. If the site recommends two-factor authentication, you should also encourage your child to get in and authenticate his account or her account on that particular site. For example, Facebook has a two-factor authentication, but most people don't use it. So if your child is getting into an online space, for the maximum security, you have to also teach him or her how to use password protection. And where two-factor authentication, which is also part of the password protection, is involved, your child should also be aware that such things. In fact, your child should understand how a particular social media or website works, the pros and cons, before he or she will be involved in that particular site, so that the person will not be caught unawares. So I think with that, security, internet security, mobile security, it cuts across all devices. Whether you're using your mobile phone, whether you're using your internet security, all of them are still talking about the same thing. You know, some people can now be traced with their mobile phone. So your child should also know the apps he or she is downloading. Some apps, they have access to your contacts, they have access to your pictures. So all these things, when you get into a site or you're about to
screenshot it,
able to read their terms and conditions and know whether it's appropriate for your child, if your child will be having access to that particular app, or will be having access to that internet space. So you should train your child to be aware that there are certain rules and regulations that guide certain sites that he or she should go through before clicking accept. Because some people don't even read through it. They'll just, I accept, I want to be part of this, so I accept. So, but you should train your child to know that, look, it's not about accepting. You might be accepting what will get you into a deeper trouble. So that is what security tries to let your child know. And it starts from the time you are entering into that app, from the time you are registering on that website. So you have to be security conscious. So we move ahead to digital emotional intelligence. So most of us have heard about emotional intelligence, but now how do you apply it on the digital space? Your child has to have empathy in dealing with people that they meet on the internet. You don't talk to them anyhow. You, as I said earlier on, you also recognize that they are human beings. There are things you say to them that might affect the emotional well-being. And you might meet people that you are better off in society, social-wise and financial-wise. You don't talk to them carelessly. So your child should also be aware of those things and also know how to, on his or her own, be able to manage what people tell them on the internet, because not everybody will be nice on the internet. Know how to manage their emotions. When people start throwing words and making you feel bad, behaving unruly in a way you don't understand why, you should be able to know how to manage yourself. You should know when to call it quits. You should know when to, for the meantime, go off and get your sanity back. So all these things are things you should let your child know. They are very, very essential, because some people have committed suicide based on what people told them on the internet. Some people have hurt themselves. Some people have gone into drugs because some people made comments that were unruly to them. I can remember on LinkedIn, where I'm very, very active, or a lady posted where a man was calling her ditty. It was terrible. And she didn't do anything, just because the man was making advances at her. She wasn't responding. And she told the man in a calm way that, look, I'm not here for relationship or dating. I'm purely here for business and education. So the man made comments that were unruly to her. She felt really bad, when she posted it on her wall, and people were encouraging her, even telling her to go about to report the account, that it's not in line with the policies of LinkedIn. So you have to train your child to understand that these things are certainly going to come, and your child should know how to manage them. And it's very, very vital. It's very, very vital. Then digital communication. Your child will get into collaboration with people, creating digital footprints, and all the rest of them. So your child should be knowledgeable on how to collaborate with people, when to say yes and when to say no, and what to accept and what not to accept. So digital communication, in fact, encompasses whatever we are doing, and when it has to do with preparing your child, because from the time your child is getting into the digital space, your child is communicating already. So your child should know, yes, your child should know the rules of engagement. Your child should know the rules of engagement. The rules of engagement, when it has to do with collaboration, when it has to do with partnership, your child should also be aware. Your child should not be caught unawares. Then we move on to digital literacy, computational thinking, online identity management. When your child gets into the digital space, your child should also be able to think critically and manage his or her identity, know when not to copy people's work and not give them due credit for their work, because your child should also know a bit about copyright, because you won't say he's a small kid, you need to catch him or her young. So you need to let him know that there are laws, there are things you don't take them, make them, you don't use them for commercial use without either, if it's for sale, you have to purchase them. Then if it is something that you have to give credit to the owner, you just give the person credit. I mean, the person has suffered, has put in a lot of mental work to get this thing packaged. So you have to give that person credit. You have to give honor to whom honor is due. So you have to teach your child all this, so that your child won't have that mindset that whatever you see on the internet is free. You just take it and go and have a good day with it. So all these things, you teach your child to, even people's content. You see some people, they will copy somebody's content and they will go and use it to shine. I'll use the word shine because that's the word we use in Nigeria. You shine with it. People will say, oh, you are wonderful, you are good, you know what you are doing. But in the real sense, it's a work that somebody took 1 week to compose. It's a work that somebody took a week to arrange. There was also an incident where somebody was talking about one of the freelance websites, how she did a job, and the person took the job, took it to her blog, and even published it, and came back to tell the person that her job doesn't meet her standard, whether she has published it on her website and she's already taking glory for it. If she has a advertisement, Google AdSense, and whatever adverts attached to her website, by then she might have been earning some money from there. But she was saying, no, this doesn't meet my standards. So your children should also understand that they shouldn't steal people's digital content and rights and use it as theirs or manipulate it to make financial gains without giving the person the due acknowledgement as the person that originated the work. So it's very, very vital. So we also go on to talk about digital rights. It's part of what I've said before. Intellectual property rights, privacy. So also internet platforms, censorship. You know, there was a time Nigeria was talking about hate speech. So what governs internet use in your crime or in your environment? Your child should be aware to know all these things. I mean, you should start educating your child on time. And what are the government laws? What are the websites that are banned in your country? At all, your country bans on websites. Yes, some people will use VPN, but you can still be caught up by the authorities. So you should also know all this gender equality. In some cases, you have to be neutral on some things, cyber security laws, data you should use and how you should use them, government internet platforms, what you are permitted to have access to. Surveillance, your child should also know that, yes, some countries, they monitor their citizens that gain access to certain websites. So all these things, your child should be able to know that they exist. Because ignorance of the law will not be an excuse. So you should educate your child while he or she is still young. So before he starts making use of the internet, by the time he gets to 18 years, all these things, he would have been knowledgeable about the existence of these things and know how to navigate the internet. So that was our part one. Then part two, we will be talking about introducing your child to the online world, now the internet. What are the key things you need to let your child know when you are introducing your child to the digital world? So in a nutshell, I try to state the things you should let your child know. So you should let your child know that he or she should always be positive. Have a positive mindset. When you are engaging in research, when you are talking to people, in as much as you be security conscious, but have a positive mindset. Don't always use negativity as your main point of stay when you are going into the internet. Have a positive mindset that you are going to get the best of the internet and you're going to use it to get yourself better. So that should be one of the main points, keys that you give your child. You are not there to use the internet for things that are not that are ungodly. You're there to use the internet for things that will make you to be better off intellectually and morally. So that's what your child should go for when he or she is going on the internet space. So that is very, very vital. How to decide which content to avoid. It's not every content on the internet that is meant for you. Even as adults, there are contents that are not meant for you. Some contents can hit you down emotionally. Even me personally, there are some times I will just go off the internet for some time and get myself back. But there are certain things you see. There's a lot of bitterness, there's a lot of chaos, rancor that hovers around the internet. So when you see that your mental sanity, your health, emotional health is being tampered with, it's advisable to withdraw. It's advisable to retreat and come back later when you know you have worked on yourself and worked on your mindset. So you should know, let your child know that certain contents are not meant for him, for his consumption. So it's not everything on the internet is meant for him or her. And when your child knows the content to absorb from the internet, it will help him or her to know where websites to avoid and websites to get engaged with. Then, as I said earlier on, your child should have that digital emotional intelligence. It's not every message you respond to. Sometimes silence is golden. So your child should know these 3 keys before he or she gets into the internet world. It's very, very vital. It will help protect the child, and it will help keep the child mentally alert while he or she is using the internet. So the second one on the part 2 has to do with tech tools. We've talked about the internet because you use tech tools even when you are not being engaged in the internet space. So when your child is getting to the digital world and your child is using tech tools, how does your child approach those tech tools? They're very, very important, but for them to get the best out of those tech tools. So you should encourage curiosity. You should encourage your child to have a curious mindset about tech tools. It's not only about using tech tools. Your child should think towards the programming, the coding aspect of it. You know, coding makes you think, it makes you expand your thoughts. Because when you ask yourself, how was this thing created? How was it done? How was it achieved? You'll be able to also have the interest of doing further research on that particular gadget. You also enable an environment for your child's imagination. Your child you shouldn't kill that imagination. You know, some children, they ask their parents questions. What if this thing is done like this? What if this thing is redesigned like this? I believe it will come out better. Some parents don't even entertain questions from their children. So you encourage your child to ask questions. Maybe when your child is asking questions, you will know the mind, you know what your child has been fed with, and know how to cleanse them if need be. Then finding answers through exploration and experimentation using tech tools. So your child should know how to use tech tools, apply them to get solutions to things that are challenges in the modern day world. So conclusion, when you talk about digital tools or preparing your child for the digital future, your mind should be on the internet, preparing your child's mind on how to use the internet. And secondly, on how to use tech tools. So thank you very much. And if there are questions, I will be available to answer them. So I think I'm done. Thank you very much for attending this particular topic. I'm glad you are here, and I believe you have learned something today on how to manage your child's access to the internet and the digital world. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for this. I don't know if we have questions for Chijioke. All right, I can see Dr. Thomas.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question for Chijioke, although, well, it's past 9, but let me just be quick. Please, I keenly listening to your work. It's a wonderful one, but I think I observed this area is still alien to our society, especially here in Nigeria, because of the challenges of digital technology. But I want to quickly ask, please, what are the advantages of this digital technology to our children here in Nigeria? That's my question. What are the advantages of digital technology to the kids in Nigeria? Thank you.
Very much for that question. There are a lot of advantages. For example, without the exposure to the digital world, your child will not. You hear people talking about coding. Coding. There is a coding language that they start training children from primary school now that they call Scratch. So if your child is not exposed on how to use all these tools, you don't even have them at home. I don't think your child will be able to partake in the digital world. As you are quite aware of, India is leading, even in America and US now, Indians are topping in tech jobs. So they encourage that curiosity from childhood. They gave their children access to the digital tools and also directed them on how to use it. And they are meant to know and understand that this should make you better. These tools should make you better. So when you are going out to use the digital tool, you should be asking yourself, how do I get myself better? How do I get my whatever I'm doing? For example, when you are doing repetitive tasks, how do I code? How do I program this repetitive task? And you know, when you are able to program any mathematical formula, before you can do that, you should understand. You have to understand that mathematical formula very well. So for your child to go into coding, it means your child will get the basics, the first principle at his or her feast, have it at fingertips. You understand me? Before your child can go into the coding space. So it will help your child to explore deeper and understand concepts, principles from their first knowledge, from the first principle view. So that's one of the advantages. And access to information. There are books you cannot get for your child easily, and your child needs information from those books. Your child can get it online, log into websites and even forums where he or she can get access to those books without going to buy them. And of course, it will also reduce space because you have them digitally. You don't need to find a shelf and store them up there. So these are one of the advantages or few advantages of the digital space for your children and encouraging them to participate. Thank you very much. I hope I answered your question, Dr. Uzoma.
Yes,
that's
It
Mr.
was Lazarus. So I'm the one.
Mr. Lazarus. Okay, sorry.
CJ, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
CJ, thank you very much for this talk. I'm talking now. Thank you, CJ.
Okay, sorry, I thought you were the...
It's been a while, CJ.
It's been a while.
Yes, no, wonderful. As in, I was so excited. My question is actually on intellectual property.
Okay.
So I don't know whether you can expand on that topic. It's actually very sensitive because I think we have a lot of people that have been violating intellectual property rights in terms of the digital context and what. And it's carrying a lot of people that have some innovative ideas, putting their thoughts out into the digital space. So I want to know how this intellectual property right works and how it protects someone that is actually creating a digital content that is new to the digital world on how to express himself without feeling that every original idea of it is being stolen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zama, for that question. You know, when it comes to legal rights and your rights to your digital content, definitely the truth must be said. There will be violations because, as a matter of fact, every country have their laws, as well as their international laws that guide their digital content that people publish on the internet. So, for example, when you go to Google, even pictures you see on Google, some of them are copyright protected. That's why there's what we call CC. When you go to Google and you're doing a search, you try and type CC, or sometimes you see it on your Google search. Those are properties or materials that you can use. In as much as some of them are written CC, there are still some guidelines on how to use them. That's why sometimes before you copy a picture that you're going to use, especially for commercial use, try and read about the rights that you have to those materials on their websites. You don't just copy the picture and start using it. try and get down to the website where that picture was published and check the kind of rights they are giving you to those pictures. Some will tell you you can use it for commercial purpose, but you have to acknowledge the person that produced this. Some might tell you you can use it for commercial, you can use it for educational. Some will tell you you can only use it for educational purpose, that they don't want you to use it for commercial purpose. So you have to know the rights that the owner of that content has given you before you go ahead and use the property. Because some of these things, yes, we see a picture on the internet, the person has spent weeks, sometimes months, to be able to create that content, to be able to draft that idea. So it's not easy. Some of them, they depend on this thing to feed their families, and they depend on this to take care of their elderly ones. So taking those things and now using it as your own personal property and making money out of it, I mean, it's not right. So you have to know by going down to that particular website and checking if they have any rules on how to use those materials. For example, let me use YouTube. YouTube, they are what they call Creative Commons in YouTube. For example, you want to get a song that you can use maybe even as you are doing your own YouTube videos. There are songs that are copyright free, you can use them. So they call them Creative Commons. So you can do your research on Google and know how you can get Creative Commons. For example, there are websites like Unsplash, Pixel, that you can get pictures that people give you free of charge. You can even use those pictures to write your books. You can use those pictures to do your documentaries. You can use those pictures to teach your students. So they have given you those rights free. So why go to a place where they have not given you rights to those pictures and take them and do things that at the end of the day, it will tell on your digital identity? You try and research and get websites that give you free. There are websites that give you free sounds, tunes, even for your movies. You can use their free tools for your movies, and it's copyright free. They are not going to charge you for it. So when you want to use a particular picture, or you need a particular image for a particular work, try and get to websites that give it to you free of charge. And that will be the best way you will avoid all those copyright laws, because sometimes you might just be in a hurry, you just pick it and use it. You don't even have time to get down to the website and know the kind of rights you have to those materials. So I feel that's the way you should go about it, for you to be able to avoid any legal issues that has to do with you. So because it's not wise when you have written your book or you have done a wonderful work online, somebody will just come and sue you for a picture, and that will mess up your work. So you dive down deep to the website where you got it and know the rights that they have allowed people that can take those materials, the level they have allowed you to use it. Thank you very much. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Engineer CJ. Thank you so much for the impact you've actually given us. I also have questions, but I guess the time will not permit, so that I can quickly go around. I can quickly take mine. Okay, so we wrap up for this 2022 annual conference that we have started this year on Voice of the Teachers. So this being the last speaker, all right, you can see most of us here we've been here since Saturday, and we thank everybody that has always logged in to be with us. We really appreciate, and all the questions that we've gotten from this, and the knowledge, us trying to learn, relearn, unlearn, and also earn more skills for our own growth. All right, without wasting time, I will be talking on I'll be talking on the roles of the 7-star teachers in molding a future-ready child. Okay, so you might ask a question, right? Yes, you might ask, why this? Why this topic? You find out that most times children actually spend more time. They spend more time with the teachers, than their parents. Okay. And some people might say it's equal, the time spent in school and the time spent at home. All right. Well, the question now is, imagine a world without teachers. Have you ever thought about that? I would have loved people to give me answers to this. However, since we don't have much time, I'll move on to let us know that a world without teachers. Okay, I can remember when I asked this question yesterday, somebody told me that it was Mr. Laddie. He said that it's going to be a world without understanding. And that made sense to me, even though I didn't take it from that angle. He said it's going to be a world with without understanding. Wow, I was like, that makes sense. Okay, because I didn't see it in that aspect. It means that with teachers, we will have learners. Because if we have learners who don't understand some things and need somebody to explain to them, and you can't find the solution, it means that there is no understanding and the challenge remains there without solution, you know? So that was how I got it. When he just gave that straight answer, it means there will be no understanding. However, this man here is still thinking for us to give him more answers to the question. And I said, the school will be like a body without soul, a skeleton without flesh and body, a shadow without substance. Indeed, such a school will be very boring. Imagine the children, what will you be doing in school when you are a learner and you need to, get feedback, to solve your problems? And then I went further to ask, who is a teacher? Now, I had to tell us that everybody, every one of us, everybody you have met in this life is a teacher. It just depends if the person is going to be your teacher or the next person's teacher. And I said that we can now come to talk about separating a teacher from a teacher, okay? Because think about it, the Yahoo master, like I said earlier on, is teaching the Yahoo servant who will later become a master. Whether you are teaching the right thing, the bad thing, educating the person rightly or wrongly, or, exposing the person to the good stuffs or the bad stuffs you are teaching. Also, the businessman who is not even educated, but in the line of business, okay, is teaching the staff, how to become a master like him in the business, okay? So you find out that we are all what? Teachers. However, you cannot say, okay, let's separate teacher from teacher. Now we talk about the professional licensed what? Teachers, okay? Now I also try to let everyone who is listening to me to know that if you are a teacher in an institute, in a school, and you don't have a license, you are very wrong. You are doing the wrong thing. In fact, you are not supposed to be in that, space, not at all. All right, because if some schools and some countries, I mean to say, when you go to some countries without your license, you can't be in the four walls of a school. It's not possible, because for you to call yourself a class teacher, you need to go through processes and you need to be certified, and yes, get your license that says yes, you are a total teacher and you are acceptable to be in such institute in order to do what? Impact. All right, I asked again, who are you as a teacher? Not just then the teacher to all, the totality of teacher we're talking about now, but a specific kind of teachers. Who are you as the professional licensed teacher? All right, and then I have this and I'm like, when you look at this, what can you see? If we had time, I would have asked us to, do a practical life skills on this. However, we don't have that kind of time. But I have a story for us on this, concerning this screen I just, projected. I was opportune to be in an interview where, hello, okay, I was opportune to be in an interview where the employee, okay, was asked, the employee to be was put through a test, and he was asked to go through, the processes of trying to recruit. Of course, we found out that this particular teacher, he has all it takes, he understands his field, he knows what it is. However, when he was to do the teaching practice proper, he was put in a classroom with gadgets, okay, and then was asked to deliver. he did a good job, but he never touched the digital materials that were kept there for him. All right. And then when he was asked, when he came back, we had to have one-on-one talk again. And we were like, okay, what happened? Your presentation was very good, but then you didn't make use of the devices. You're supposed to be a technologist as a teacher. He now said, no, he did not study that. He did not study anything relating to IT, computer science, or whatever. Okay. And at that junction, the teacher has failed, because the people you're going to meet, okay, the children you're going to meet, they are the 21st century, digital world kids. Just like Mr. Lazarus asked Engineer Chijoke, okay, you find out that as a teacher, you have to have in mind the children you are going to impact on. All right. And that's why you also have a learner here. As a teacher, you have to learn. What is that thing you don't know? You have to show interest. There's a difference between that. Yes, I identify my problem as a teacher and have to help myself, and the people that don't even think that that's a problem at all. All right. That's why we say that teachers too are also learners, because you have to learn. Yes, we cannot know everything, but at least you need to know bits of things. Okay. Even if you can't, of course, specialize in all aspects of all those stuffs. All right. So all of us as teachers, we have to have it in mind that to whom much is given, much is expected. All right. So it is accepted, or rather it is believed, that a teacher should not even make a mistake, which is actually wrong, but the society somehow doesn't want to understand that part. All they know is that you are impacting and that you cannot give what you don't have. So still talking about the roles of the 7-star teachers in molding the future-ready child, you might ask, who is this future-ready child? Okay. Now, the future-ready child, okay, it's not just like I earlier said, like that was yesterday too. I said that the future-ready child is not just the child that has never made a mistake before, okay? It's not just the child that the parents or the guardians has provided all that is needed, all he or she needs materially. It's not even the child that is so intelligent, the most intelligent, just the most intelligent in the classroom. No. That's not the future-ready child. You might now ask me, what is she talking about? The question still is, who is the future-ready child? Okay. Now, I want to let us know that I will not be answering this question right now, because I would have loved somebody to even attempt it. Still, we don't have time. All right. I promise that I won't spend much time here. There's this message that's gone viral, written by a principal, because very soon summer is almost over, and even some schools, they've even started, okay, for their new section for 2022/2023, okay, academic year. However, this particular principal wrote to parents. If you have seen this before and you have read this before, you might have a clue about who a future-ready child is. Okay, for the principal to write this, I'll still get back to this for you to understand better. I just want to prepare your mind to keep thinking, what is she talking about? Who is the future-ready child? Okay. All right. So when I put up this, I had to advertise my flyer and all that I'll be talking about the roles of the 7-star teacher in molding a future-ready child. Some people called me. I got some calls from friends, actually, and then they were like, what are you talking about? You molding a child? Why will you be saying molding a child? You are trying to box the child and then put what you want inside the child, I said no. And I told them, please try and be here and listen to what I'll be saying, okay? In as much as if you don't have time, we'll still have it on the Facebook, to be there recorded for you to also go through to understand better. All right. So I decided to break down also the topic I have to present. And I asked, who is a role? What does role mean? All of us know that role is all about the duties, the responsibilities that this 7-star teacher has to, imbibe. He has to go through in order to do what? Mold the future-ready child. Now, I went further to ask who is a teacher, which I have actually explained to some extent in the previous slides. Now, the question now is, why mold the child? Like some of my friends asked me when they saw my flyer that I'll be talking on this, why mold the child? I now asked them a question. Why won't you help to mold the child? And I ask them, if you have a child from day one and you have your child and you now put him or her in an empty room, okay, and the child grows in an empty room, what do you think the child will get? What do you think? How do you think the child will behave? And I've asked them to think about George of the Jungle. I don't know how many of us have seen the movie George of the Jungle. And I asked them, from my question, and if you have seen George of the Jungle, what do you think is similar to the question I just asked? Because some of them were telling me, no, allow children to unfold. All right. And I said, you can't just allow a child to unfold. From my question, that if you have a child and you put a child into an empty room from the childhood, what do you want from the child? I said, for you, when we talk about molding a child, we are trying to let you know that, yes, you are the first person that will expose this child. And the child is going to be in that space you have exposed him or her in order to do what? Absorb things around him or her. That's why environment is very important. The child that grew up in environment A will be slightly different from a child that has grown up in another environment, okay, that is quite different, all right? Because they have to do what? They have to absorb some things. They are going to be, certain things are going to be instilled in this particular child. Hence, that is when the child, you will now allow the child, your duty, or rather your role as a parent, as a teacher, is to ensure that you expose this child, observe the child, now make sure that the child, you know, is actually in the right direction that you want the child to be. However, also allow the child to do what? To express him or her to show you what he has actually absorbed from that environment or situation or case study that you are trying to understand what the child has absorbed, okay? Now, that is where I actually like Maria Montessori again. I bring her up again, okay, because she does not actually, in Maria Montessori setting, you don't call the teachers teacher, rather you call them directress, okay? Because Maria Montessori believes that a child should be directed, all right? That's why she made sure that even the people teaching the children are called directress, so that in your mind is always in your subconscious that you are directing a child. So when you are directing a child, you allow the child to observe, all right? Anything presented in front of the child has to do what? Has to, you have to allow the child to walk in that environment. So you observe how the child will react, respond, all right? And then you now know how to rightly direct the child to where you feel is better, and still allow the child to give you response and reaction and also feedback. You know, that's what we keep doing in molding a child from the onset. All right. Sorry. Okay. Now I move straight to, you know, letting us know as a teacher, how can we actually do this that we talked about? How can we, you know, do this modeling? How do we, what are the skills we need? What do we need to know? What do we need to have in the subconscious to understand that with this, yes, that we can actually, you know, direct these children, mold these children in the right direction for future readiness. And I'm telling every teacher that is listening to me, you know, that you are what? You are a facilitator, all right? You are a facilitator, yes, because, you know, some people feel that facilitators are just the people that, you know, some teachers actually feel that facilitators are those ones that have gone to, you know, get certificates in one aspect in order to go on training people, you know, from one place to another. No, as a teacher in your classroom, you are a facilitator, because you have to plan. You have to plan for this, your learners, okay? Well, that is what facilitators do. You have to get the skills needed for you to know, for you to impact on in the lives of these children, in the lives of your learners, okay? And then it's not just an easy task. And that's why it is very important that a teacher must have a lesson plan before you go into your into your classroom. So teachers are what? facilitators. They assess the learners, they have to facilitate the learning, because that's why you enter a class and you're saying, this teacher is boring. You're not facilitating the learning as it should be. That's why some children are calling some teachers boring teachers. Okay, you have to plan your lesson, and you have to remember to implement the plan very well. And after that, without evaluation, like Mr. Lazarus told us yesterday, you have not finished your work as a teacher, because you have to evaluate the process. You have to know, okay, this is what I have done so far, I have achieved. Remember that every learning process, the end product, what you actually have, what you are aiming at, is to make sure that there is a change in behavior. So when you've not gotten that change, that desired, that behavioral objective that you have in mind in order to achieve, if you've not gotten it, you know that you have not rightly done what? Finished your work. So please, teachers, we all are what? Facilitators. And then I also want to let us know that you have to have at the back of your mind that you are a guardian counselor as a teacher. I can remember also yesterday, Mr. Dr. Akintola also told us that teachers are para counselors. Okay, if we don't know this, then I don't know what we are doing in the classrooms. Okay, because we can't give what we don't have. All right, imagine a child coming to you seeking your help. If you can't counsel this child as a teacher, then you have failed the child. All right. Now, teachers as guidance counselors, okay, you have to get these skills, please, if you've not gotten it. That's why I said that we getting our license is very important. Now, if you're going to be a teacher, to stay in a classroom and mold these children in the right direction, by the time you are going through to get your license, you'll find out that you go through a course called guidance and counseling. I know that Mr. Abimbola is also here. Okay, Mr. Abimbola actually taught me, okay, when I was trying to get my license. All right, and I remain grateful to him, because there are so many things I learned from him one-on-one. All right, so I also want teachers to understand that when you are a guidance counselor, all right, you have to know that most times your focus is for you to gain the child's trust, because with that, you find out that your work will be easy for you as a teacher. As you gain their trust, okay, they will confide in you. You'll be able to understand better who your learner is, and then channel that, in your lesson plan, in order to execute properly. Now, another one is that I would like us to take a look at this picture. Okay, now you can see a parent. This is supposed to be a parent, talking to the child, and the child is closing his ears. Like, I would have loved us to, take a look at this, imagine it, and say one or two things about it, because we don't have time. But for me, I'm seeing a parent trying to, talk to a child, but the child is not listening, because this parent has not understood this child. This parent is lacking guidance, counseling, skills. If he has it, this child wouldn't be showing us this, okay? It means that the child is saying, I don't know what she's talking about. You talk to me, it enters from one ear, it leaves the other one, all right? So I guess the parent has actually failed the child. Yes, we might say this child is disobedient or whatever, but to tell you the truth, it starts from what we said. It starts from childhood. This parent, for me, has actually failed this child. So even as I said, remember earlier on, I said that all of us are teachers. And I can remember one of our speakers talked about it, teachers as parents. And another one said parents as teachers. Good. So the only difference is now separating the teacher from the teacher. Then we have the professional licensed teachers that are in institutes, trying to also mold these children. Thank you. Now, I would like us to know, just like you see, all our topics are actually interwoven. All right, teachers as innovators. Man, just like we said, Mr. Engineer Chijoke just told us about what's it called, digital world and all that. You see, if you're a teacher and you're not innovative, I don't know what you're doing, because like we said, we are meeting different children, okay? We're meeting different kids with different potentials, all right? So you have to be on top of your game, all right? I can remember sometimes what I normally do when I was in the classroom, of course, once a teacher, always a teacher. Okay, in the classroom, I try my own class. I try to make sure that in the beginning of the school, I gather my kids. Of course, even in this can happen in all the levels, all right, except maybe for the preschool, not all of them, you know, depending on if it's nursery 2, fine, you can still do this. Now I gather my kids and then we have a meeting and I'm like trying to understand what's your goal, all right? What do you want? How do you see yourself? Yes, I ask such questions, all right? By the time we finish, the aim is for me to know if they know the kids individually, especially when it's a new section, all right? Then you will see some people giving you in that interested in being what's it called, painters. So we tell you they want to become a teacher. Yes, I've had some kids say they want to be teachers, you know. I don't know any of you that has had that, and I was so happy when I heard that. All right. Yes, they might not turn up maybe in their own generation when we are all maybe very old. They might become even teachers. You know, I see teachers becoming more in the society than what the society has actually brought us down to, in as much as some teachers have helped the society to also bring us down as teachers. All right. So when I finish that, I now write it in a paper. I now make it to stand on their desk. Maybe somebody said I want to be a printer, a painter. The person's desk will have painter, you know, with the stand, the paper stand on it. And then maybe another one says he wants to be a computer, a gamer. I've had another child telling me I want to be a gamer. I don't discourage them. I write it and put it there, you know, that kind of a thing. Some will tell you they want to be doctors and all that. Okay, firemen, firefighters. I've heard firefighters. I'll just write and put on their desk. Now, do you know what happens? With that, you find out that themselves they will even be calling themselves such names, you know, in you know, when they are discussing, when they're having like informal discussions and all that, you know, it helps to motivate these children. You find out that they want to, in that area they have told you they want to inspire others. They think more, you know, in that direction. They want to say, oh, they want to go and even find out more about that stuff that is placed on their desk and all that, in order to educate their colleagues more, all right, their classmates more. So that was what I noticed, and it has always worked for me. It has helped me also, you know, to help these children to think, because as a teacher, you have to devise all means your kids can actually think, and the class will be fun for them. They will be very creative. You find out that if you have such a class setting, this person is bringing idea, this person is bringing idea, you know, and then you find out that, you know, their interaction as they come together, it's like a teamwork. This one has brought this idea and this person is asking, okay, what and what and what. For me, there's always a time. I normally have like what I call class meeting. It all depends, you know, on you as a teacher, in order to help these children to think. You know, it helps to inspire them. It helps to let them know that they are managers of themselves and they are also leaders. Now, I still come back again to say that teachers are what? IT specialists. As IT specialists, teachers, honestly, if you don't have any skills when it comes to IT, you need to go and acquire. I could remember when in fact, I've learned a lot from CJ. I disturbed him when I didn't know about Canva. Imagine I don't know about Canva. I would have been paying a lot in order to, you know, get my work done on Canva and all that. I disturbed CJ, Engineer Chijoke, that is here with us. I disturbed him, and then he got tired of me anyway, but I can't help it because I needed to get that knowledge. And so teachers, I'm just like telling all of us that whatever you don't know is bigger than you. And if you don't want anything to be bigger than you, then step out from your comfort zone, all right? Because the people we are working for, where we were working on, these children, if we give them the list, if we give them, you know, not our best, if you as a teacher, your conscience will prick you. And whatever it is, remember, we are molding the future ready kids. We might not be there later, but at least we need to impact in these children. If maybe one day we might not be there whenever all of them will become whatever they have to become fully, you know, but at least let it be that we positively impacted in these children for their readiness for the future. Okay, and of course, it will also do what? Be good for us and our own children that we might live here one day when we leave this world. Now, I also said that teachers are what? Visionaries. Yes, teachers as visionaries. There is nothing if you tell me that you're a teacher and I have my child in your class, and you cannot tell me, look at this, your child, this your child has these potentials and all that, then why is my child in your class? Okay, because we are even the ones, we are like directors. Yes, like I said, like I earlier mentioned about Maria Montessori letting her teachers answer directress instead of what teachers. Okay, so I'm trying to let us know that as teachers, we should let these kids, we are there to inspire these kids. We should let them understand that there is nothing what impossible. There is nothing impossible for them, especially when they put their mind there, when they leave their comfort zone, when they try to do what? Put out that little, that their strength, what they know, their potentials, when they try to utilize it to the fullest. It is our job, it is our duty to channel, to help these children, to direct them in order for them to do what? For them to do what? Actualize that potentiality in them, in order for them to bring it out to the world. All right. I can remember when Mr. Michael told us about the school, Kalu Nwankwo's school. Okay. That means I believe that Kalu Nwankwo will never forget his coach. I want to believe that he can never ever forget his coach. Whenever he goes back or whenever he thinks back and remembers the school, Holy Ghost College in Owerri, he will always remember the coach that, according to what Mr. Michael told us, he will always remember that coach, that this coach gave me his all. I was even waiting for Mr. Michael to tell just us more that maybe this Mike, what's that his name, Kalu Nwankwo, also had to go look for his coach. I was waiting for that, but I didn't get that. Maybe if he did, maybe he didn't. I can't say. But it would be so nice that Kalu, went on to look for that coach who actually, brought out the best in him, that made him who he, that helped, to direct him in the right direction where he is now, that everybody knows about him. So as a teacher, we have to help we have to help the intellectual growth. We have to also develop, like I said, recognize the talent and the skills. So Kalu Nwankwo's coach did a good job, and he's a teacher. All the names are the same: the coach, the teacher, the instructor. They are still the same. So he did a good job. He found the talent. He developed and worked on the skills for the child to acquire such skills. All right. And we should also make them understand, encourage them, just like we said, nothing is impossible for these kids. Nothing. It's just that the society will limit children. We just limit ourselves, in this society. Yes. All right. I'm trying to also let us know that teachers are leaders. I could remember also Dr. Ozoma saying that there's a difference between a leader and a manager, but he now said that that's a long talk and it should be for some other time. Now, I just want to quickly say that all leaders, okay, all leaders are actually managers, but not all managers are leaders. Yes, I want us to know that, because we say teachers are managers in their space, in their classroom, they are managers. And it is a good teacher that should also let the child know that he or she is a leader and also a manager, okay? Because children are supposed to, emulate from their teachers, okay? Now, as a leader, the teachers are supposed to, make the child to be what? Independent, okay? They have to build that in them. They have to also lead them, all right? Just like we all know, yes, teachers are the what? We are the coach, we are the instructors. Your skill, your style of leadership, your skills in trying to lead a child matters a lot, because there's a way you go about it. The child will withdraw. Honestly, you need to see me sometimes when I'm in school, I play around with these children. I play as old as I am, but to the extent that some of my friends, they will say, Vivian, you are actually like a child. You play, you are like them. And in my head, I'm like, well, you don't understand that I have to, yes, I'm a child at heart, even if I'm not, physically a child, but honestly, at heart, I'm a child. Because for you to be in their world, you have to come down to their level. You really have to come down to their level. All right. I could remember Dr. Akintola when he talked about where we worked and children running all over me. That's true. All right. That's true. It's actually because of me coming down to their level. If you see me among kids, you will not know. You say, is this an adult baby? Yes, I have to come down to their level, in as much as, of course, I still keep my rules and my regulations, but I come down to their level, we talk, the way we discuss, you think I'm in their midst, I'm their level, I'm in their age bracket or so, all right? I've gotten, offer to, be a staff in, Federal University of Technology, Owerri. I know my dad did not understand why I said no. Sorry, Daddy, I can't go there. All right, until I have to, get to Owerri to talk one-on-one and explain to my father why I will not have this satisfaction, this joy, in my career if I'm to be a staff in Federal University of Technology, Owerri. I had to decline. I didn't go there. I know my father did not understand it until, I kept explaining to my dad to understand why I am not going to come down to Owerri, in order to be a staff in Federal University of Technology, Owerri. So you can see it's all about the passion. It's all about also knowing why you have been called to be a teacher in any different, level your strength is. I know that, yes, I'm going to work in FUTO. Yes, I'm meeting the learners, but I know where my strength lies. Okay, so as a teacher, you should also know where your strength lies. All right, I know that, yes, like Dr. Akintola actually said it, but Dr. Akintola was with us in the nursery and primary section, but he had to leave. You get, when he realized that, man, I can't be here. So he had to leave and he moved to the university level. All right. Yes, so please, as teachers, it's very important for us to know it's not just because of the money, the package. No, you have to also know what makes you to, to be relaxed, because it's not this job we are doing, this teaching job, this lecturing job, is not an easy task. So it also is left for you to tell yourself the truth, where you belong, and then stay there in order to accomplish what you have to accomplish on this earth before our Creator calls us. So teachers are actually leaders. So as a leader, you have to know that you are supporting these learners. You have to be very resourceful. And then you have to also know that you are a learner. Yes, we keep learning. Okay, we keep learning. Yes, we encourage teamwork and all that. You inspire these children. You cannot just, be successful in a classroom when you don't encourage them, to participate as team, and also inspire them, so that when they remember they are coming to school, they are very happy, to come to school. Now, teachers as role models and mentors, there is a difference between role models and mentors, but I'm not going into that right now. So it's just all about us knowing that these children are looking up to us. Like I said earlier on, they spend most of their days, most of their time with us, okay? Now, it has been debated before that is equal the amount of time spent in school and at home. And some people said, no, school is more. They spend more time in school than the home, all right, and all that. But whichever way, my own is that, yes, they spend time at home and they spend time in school. So just know that these children, they learn more from our actions than even what we say. So if what you are saying is not rhyming with your actions, man, you are actually deceiving these kids, okay? So you might even want to ask your kids, who are your role model? Yes, to even know if one can even say, you are my role model, okay, or my mentor. So you might have to ask as a teacher, okay, to know. At least you could even say, okay, can you tell me 3 of your role models and the difference between the mentor? Now, a mentor is more like, right? Why a role model is somebody you are looking up to because you want to be there, like the person. Role model might not physically be with you. Role model might just be somebody away, far away, distant from you. But a mentor is meant to take you from one point to another point in order for you to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve, okay? So it's very important that as a teacher, from time to time, just ask and even understand these kids, whether they are, they are actually, learning from you. You can actually devise means in order to, maybe it's not going to be a direct question, but for you to understand. Okay, so you can see this child now learning from the coach. That child there is actually, that's the mentor. The child is the mentee there, learning from the coach, as a child. Yes. All right. So as a mentor, we are what? Advisors. We are public servants. As mentors, as role models. I know that some children, you see them, some of our actors and actresses, you see some of our kids, having some of them as their role models, dreaming that they could become like them, because that's always was on the screen as they are looking at them. Okay, it's also left for teachers and then parents to also know the kind of role models our children, are having in mind to become in future. That's why it's good to do some exercises with them. Now, you remember I said that teachers are leaders and they're also managers in their classroom. Yes, they are. And they also, develop, we have to also help these children in character development and intellectual development. It is our duty as teachers. All right. I'll be faster right now so that we can actually go back. Now, I told everybody that this circular that went viral, this message from a principal that went viral, I told you that I'll still come back to it. You can see it on the left-hand side of my screen, or of your screen. Okay. Now, there's something we have to understand in molding a child. Sometimes when I started, I said that they are not the ones that have not made mistakes before. All right. Now, we also have to understand that we have to listen to them, okay, and teach them to listen to others. Okay, we have to also teach them to take responsibility for their actions. Okay, we don't have to let them blame people. We don't have to also blame them. Okay, we don't have to blame them. We just have to let these children know that they should take up responsibilities. We have to also give them credit and allow them to also teach them to give credit to whoever the credit is due. All right, teach them to be kind and teach them to serve others. All right, teach them to do what? Know how to make decisions and let them do what? Fail. Like I started before, I said it's not the child that has never failed. If a child fails, they learn from their mistake. All right, for it is the disciplined child that is what? Ready for the future. Now, I have answered the first question ever I asked at the beginning of this. I asked everybody, who do you think is the what? Future ready child? Honestly, the future ready child is that disciplined child. And that is why this principal sent this message. Any of us that has read it, that is the reason why the principal sends what? The message to parents, telling them that they should please sit down with their children before school will start, because school is starting, most schools are starting this September. Sit down with your child and please have a chat with your child. All right. And that is what, a disciplined child, honestly, is an intelligent child. Automatically is an intelligent child. Why did I say that? Intelligence, in the aspect that this child has been made, to be aware. I could remember I had this conversation with Mr. Gavin. All right. We talked about the disciplined child. A disciplined child is a child that is intelligent because the child has been made, to be aware of his or her environment, to be aware of what is right from wrong. So you find out that if this child meets another case study, and this topic I discussed with Sandra, if this child meets another case study that is similar to what she or he has been put through, the child will pause, and because the skills are already there, has already been instilled in the child pauses to ask one or two questions to him or herself. And that's why you see kids that think before they talk. All right. So in a nutshell, all that we have been doing all this while, we have to understand that the future ready child is a child that you will see, and you know that this child is disciplined. If a child is disciplined, the child will want to learn. If a child is disciplined, the child will, want to bring out the best, in him or her to even listen to you. All right. If a child is disciplined, the child will want to understand the reason why he has to go through the speech engineer Chijoke gave us, through what engineer Chijoke has said. They will not listen. They will not even take it. They will just be nodding their head and do whatever they want. So it actually starts from what? Childhood too, all right? To discipline a child. And that is why what this principal did, he sent the circular to all the parents telling them, please, you are bringing back these children, sit them down, have a chat with them, let them understand that they shouldn't bully anybody, that it is very bad to hurt people, and all that. He poured his mind to the parents, because we all know that some parents don't actually have time, and we too, as a school, as teachers, have to also even help them out. It's actually, we support them and they support us in school too. All right. So in a nutshell, the future ready child is a disciplined word child in a nutshell. All right. I then want to let us know that as a teacher, as a 7-star teacher, please ensure that you are very fun. Be fun around these children we are trying to mold. Be resourceful, be purposeful, that's be intentional. Okay, it's very good. It's a key for you to be intentional when you are dealing with kids. Be creative, be tech savvy. Please, if you don't have this, try and get all this. If you don't have all these 10 listed here, okay? Also be patient, be passionate. If you are not passionate, had it been I went to Federal University of Technology Owerri, I won't be passionate there. Maybe I will just be waiting for my money for the end of the month for them to pay me, because I don't know what, if you see me in school, the ones that know me, if you see me in school, when I entered the school, it's like another world, for me to explore and do a lot of things I have in my head. All right. So be a passionate teacher, be proactive, be patient. Be also a learner, don't forget. And above all, be prayerful. I know that Mr. Ladi also said this, when he was also, sharing his slides. He told us that, yes, some teachers, and it's true, some teachers, they forget that these children are coming from different backgrounds, different belief and all that. You as a teacher, you have to also pray for yourself and pray for these children. Of course, there's nothing prayer cannot do, though, of course, we should not just say, oh, let's be praying and not do the work. No. But it is very important for me to even have it in my slide, and Mr. Ladi also said it. You can imagine, I know that some teachers don't remember to pray for their children. You really have to pray for your children, for your pupils in your class, even the parents. I wonder how many parents wake up and actually pray for their children. Hold hands and pray, and pray for your child, because prayers are also key. I don't know how many of us know that, but please, if you are hearing my voice today, as a teacher, even as a parent, please pray for these children, okay? Because remember, we're not just fighting, human beings, we're also fighting principalities. All right, thank you so much. Remember all this, please. It's very important as a teacher. Now, I will also want to immediately ask you, what kind of teacher are you? Where do you belong? Do you belong to the, to the other side, or do you belong to the digital world? Do you belong to the book, physical hard copy books, or the soft world? And my answer to you, because I can't allow everybody to talk right now, my answer to you is that you need to belong to both of them. Yes, you need to belong to both of them, okay? Yes, in as much as digital world, we have our digital world here, the hard copy will not really fade away. It will not completely fade away. I doubt if it will. Okay, I don't know if I'm wrong. By the time I finish, somebody should also help me to emphasize on this, because I tell everybody, don't belong to in one side, make sure you have both of them as a teacher, all right? Because it's very important for me, all right? I know that sometimes, of course, everything that has advantages has its own disadvantages, all right? So, however, I guess that's the reason why I'm saying belong to both of them, all right? Know your hard copies, have your hard copies as a teacher, also be a digital teacher, a tech-savvy teacher, yes. Now, I would have loved to do this. It's supposed to be a practical aspect of this talk, and I'm like, look at this. Which one relates to you, okay? Which one truly relates to you, all right? And I wanted to ask people to pick from there which one makes you, as in which one I can see smiling. As a teacher, you need to always smile. You are meeting parents, you are meeting little children that if you don't smile, you are pushing them away. They'll just be like, that teacher is not approachable. All right. I could remember I had a teacher like that in my school when I was in secondary school, for that matter. Okay. So you can imagine such, what's it called? Such impact, the teacher had on me, to the extent that when we had to do selectives, I had to run away from the subject, okay? So we have to know, you know, what we do as teachers. We have to be intentional with all our acts as teachers, all right? Now, the final one that says, yes, the kids, remember, like we said earlier on, they are looking at all of us. Yes, they are. They are looking at our actions, all right? More of our actions. And it's always a joy, you know, for a child to understand that, this is my teacher. They might not tell you, you know, but it's always a joy for them to understand that, oh, my teacher, you know, I can relate with my teacher very well, happily. You can even, do you know, when we were in school, I don't know how many of us were, but when I schooled, you know, the environment, especially I'm talking about primary school right now, the environment was such that you don't come close to your teacher, you know. But this time around, I found myself, you know, in this setting, in this 21st century. You find out that sometimes, okay, when it started, when I was a new teacher, you know, I found out that, look at these kids. So the way they want to come and hug you, of course, nowadays we now say hug from a distance and all that, you know. However, they just want to be around you to ask you some questions. You're like, why is this child asking this question? You know, I can remember the first child I ever taught, that was in Bayelsa State. Okay, she's now an engineer. You won't believe it. You know, in I think it's in US. I don't know where in particular in US. Okay, so she's now an engineer. Of course, she still chats with me on what's it called, on Facebook. All right. Can I even remember her name? Oh, Boma. Yes, her name is Boma. She's a Bayesian. I hope that's what they call it. She's from Bayelsa. So this girl, why am I telling this story? She was the first person, you know, she would just, everybody would go downstairs to play, but she would remain with me. She just start asking me, you know, questions. And I'm like, I was so uncomfortable because I just finished from NYSC, you know. I was like, this girl, doesn't she have this little baby? She's not even afraid, you know. And I took interest in that girl. You won't believe it. I posted it on my Facebook wall when she became an engineer, you know, the mom wrote to me on Facebook. That was 2019. You know, I had to post it. I had to share it with everybody. She was like, thank you for the impact you have on my daughter. She posted it online. You know, she said a lot of things, you know, and the daughter too had to, you know, show what she has in her end, whatever, that she cannot forget me. You know, they were saying all sorts of things. Why am I trying to tell this story? Why I'm trying to tell this story is that, you know, the impact we might have in the lives of our children, of our kids, of our students, we might not know. You know, it might just be towards the tail end, you know, when they now come down to, like, you know, show their appreciation, that will now say, oh, so this thing I did, you know, it even touched this child. It has always remained with her and all that, whether negative or positive, you know. Just like every one of us here, we must have remembered that a teacher like this did this or that, you know, to us. All right, so this is the child, these are kids, different kids saying thank you. Thank you so much, teachers, for being intentional about my future readiness. So this is children telling all the teachers in the world, telling them that in as much as they cannot give them whatever they that they want, but they are very grateful for what we have done for them. And at this junction, I'm saying thank you to everybody for listening and your active participation. I don't know if I have questions from anybody. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Any questions? Do I have any question from anyone?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
I want to commend you. Mine is really not question per se, but I want to commend you for doing a nice presentation. And I think we have a place for our future kids. However, there are some extreme cases anyway. I know the teachers will not kill himself or herself, but there are some extreme cases where some children also prove unmanageable. I don't know. Do you have anything, any suggestion or the way out of such situation? There are some situations where some kids, you use every skills that are available, every tool. that is available, but yet you seem not getting results.
All right. Thank you so much for this question. I don't know if Sophia is here, because I think if Sophia can remember, we've had a discussion about what the question you just asked, although it was somehow in a different way. All right, but I want to say something. You see, there's no child that is unmanageable. Okay, now that child is trying to show you what you are seeing as unmanageable. The child is trying to let you know that there is something you are not paying attention to. Okay, the child is trying to tell you that this is what I want, this is my need, can you come, can you reach out to me? All right, now it depends. It's left for you to sit down and think, or even call the child for a discussion, depending on what age. All right, now sometimes, let's say in nursery, you see some parents saying, this boy is stubborn, and we are like, no, excuse me, ma, don't use that word on your child. All right, now why have you said that this boy is stubborn? Can you give us an instance? Can you give us a case study? What happened? Okay, you find out that he said, I told him to come and wear this shoe, he refused. Why did that child refuse to wear this shoe? Have you checked, maybe in school, that shoe keeps the child uncomfortable, because the child doesn't know how to explain or express himself or herself. The child is trying to, show it in a different way. And because you have not, sat down to ask, to have this one-on-one chat. Okay, what is it? Call him a pet, give him a pet name, call him that pet name. Why are you doing this? What happened? Why don't you want this? Okay, do you want this? Okay, can I see the one you want? Imagine you now say, okay, can I see the one you want? And he goes to bring another one for you. It's left for you to now see, oh, is this supposed to be a church wear or a school wear? You now tell the child, but this is for church. Why do you want this? I'm just giving you an instance. You must follow them. You have to give them prompting questions, and you have to put them on a journey in order to help them express themselves. Sometimes they don't know how to express themselves. I'm talking about the nursery, children. Now for the primary kids, it's not left for you to even know. Maybe the child even trying to say something that still the child doesn't know how to express. Okay, fine. Their own is now in a better, in a higher level. Okay, if I should use that. Now it's left for you to still sit down with the child. Make it like a discussion. Make it like, I want to know. Make it like you don't know what's bothering, as in you really want to understand. If you put your position in that, if you put yourself in such position, and the child observes that, truly they want to know. It's not like they are going to, scold me or, or automatically tell me no if I try to explain what I want. Okay. Now, by the time the child tells you what he or she wants, you might find out that this child is just trying to even, tell me what he wants, in as much as maybe that's not what I want for him, or that's not what he needs. You might now give the child the reasons why no, you can't have this today. Okay, what if this happens like this? So you're having a dialogue, you're being intentional, trying to resolve the child's problem. Most times it's just because they can't express themselves very well, maybe because of previous occurrence and how you scolded the child, and the child doesn't know how to explain it. So the child is rebelling. And how does it cause? The child did not just learn how to rebel. There's something that has happened in the past. And the child is also trying to show, this is my right. Okay, I'm going to do it like this in order to get what I want. So it's just for you to sit down and have a dialogue. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. It's okay. Thank you.
All right. Yes, thank you. So please, we all know, I believe that most teachers, especially in nursery and primary, they know that no child is unmanageable. Not at all. In fact, it's even the teacher has failed the child. Even as a parent, the parent has failed the child because they don't know. They are trying to learn. That's why we are trying to say we mold these kids for them to become future ready. Thank you. I don't know if I have any other question or any addition to what I've said, because in the absence of none, I don't know if anybody has. All right.
Hello, Kelechi.
Yes, Mr. Dr. Uzoma.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Sincerely. I also thank the last speaker for the question he asked. Yeah, the response is very apt and is even more important. So in this age where we are losing our children to a lot of cultural shock, you see, in a culture where the child is trained to be straight, and maybe he's going either in the house or in his environment or his peers, they are trying to push him into gayism or LGBT, which is what is reigning now in the world. The child might be trying to rebel to let you know that he's going through a lot of psychological stress. He's going through a lot of abuse. So I agree with you entirely. No child is unmanageable. Sometimes when you pay close attention to those rebels, it is a pointer to what is actually going on behind the scene. If you're a teacher, it's going to be a pointer what's going on in the home or what is going on in the class right under your nose. Because abuse is multifactorial. Because if a child from an abused home comes into school, he tries to mirror the effect of what he learned at home over his children. So if you see a child that sees his father beating up his mom, if he comes to school, he tries to see how many people he can bully. He's not unmanageable. He's actually trying to play out what is going on in his home. And it's our duties as teachers, as parents, to point these things out. And the earlier we point them out, the better for us. And when we do that, I think the child will be future ready. I thank all the speakers. It has been quite an exciting platform to learn new things. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Uzoma. Thank you, everyone. I don't know if there's any other question or addition, but if not, that means we've finally come to the end of this year's Voice of the Teachers Conference 2022. And I thank everyone that has started with us from the beginning and every other person that just joined, because they just heard about it later on. I am very grateful myself and my team and I, we are very grateful, okay? And then we are happy that, some questions actually came our way, because without questions, you might not really know how you have impacted, but I am very grateful. So far, so good, starting from Saturday that we've been here. So I thank every one of us. And I say, let's do this next year again in a better way. Let's do this next year. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. And thank you. And please have a good night's rest.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Mr. Wale, yes.
Am I still here? I'm not leaving. No.